Is that where your part of your passion with quantum computing comes in? It's just the new capabilities potentially of cracking passcodes, or does your interest in quantum go beyond that?
Yeah, I've been a 30-year quantum physics hobbyist, and my brain is always hurt trying to think about it. But certainly in 1994, Peter Shor came up with an algorithm that's now the famous Shor's algorithm that said, hey, if we get quantum computers and they have 2,000, 4,000, 8,000 bits, known as qubits, which we're just getting ready to have in the next year or two. Once we get enough quantum, and back when Peter Shor said this, there was no quantum computers. The first quantum computer got built in 1998, had one qubit bit. Well, now we have quantum computers with thousands of qubits, although it's not the right type of quantum computer. But I have a friend that he's told me the quantum computer that's the right type for breaking cryptography, they're going to have thousands within a couple of years. He thinks hundreds of thousands within 5 years. So we're just getting ready to be in, on this place where these quantum computers are getting powerful enough. And let me say, I think they probably already are. The government has them. They're not telling us. That's the job of the government. But when they do that, they're going to crack anything that's our asymmetric, our traditional asymmetric encryption is going to be broken. And it's interesting. So I've been following this since 94. Now it's finally happening. So that's why I kind of wrote the book. But the wild thing is, here's another thing. NIST said 4 years ago, it's been 2016, said, okay, quantum computing, where it can crack the asymmetric encryption, is getting right. We don't know when it's going to be. Could be as long as 10 years, but now is the time to prepare. So NIST told America, and the National Institute of Science Academies and everything, and NSA said, okay, in 2016, now is the time for every organization to start preparing for this. Yet I don't talk to anyone that even knows this is an issue. It's like this looming Y2K problem getting ready to come across us. And when I talk to people about this, I gave a lecture on it today. It is like astounding. People are just like, I had no idea. And let me say, there are things you need to be doing today that are going, because if someone gets if your competitor wants to learn your secrets, I would be sniffing your wireless network today, knowing that in a couple of years, within 2 years, 3 years, we have the quantum computers. I take my competitor's network traffic protected by TLS or RSA, and I read all the traffic. As a matter of fact, let me say, nation states, if you have to worry about nation states, they would be neglectful not to sniff each other's traffic today.
Well, that's the thing right now is that most 70%, 75% of the internet traffic is SSL. So a lot of the security,
TLS.
Yeah, TLS. And so a lot of the security firewalls that and things that we put in place for and manage for people, they're not even putting on internal SSL inspection. So they're only really looking at web traffic that's of the 25%. They're not even inspecting TLS. Because you can look at inbound and outbound of TLS, but that means you got to tune certs and you got to actually do the hard work that gets in the way of gets in the way of your end users. And what you're saying is, from a nation state level, or from just trying to get advanced knowledge of your competitors, you got to be able to look inside that TLS all the time. And
if you have a critical secret that you need to protect for 5 or 10 years, it needs not to be on your network. You need to protect it because the encryption that you can encrypt it with symmetric encryption. Quantum computers are going to break the protection of symmetric encryption, AES, in half. Okay. So as long as you have AES 256-bit key or better, you're fine. If you have AES 128-bit, which is very common, that means when quantum computers come, that's AES 64. Well, we haven't broken 64-bit key AES, but we have broken 56-bit. So it's not that far off.
Shortly.
Yeah. So NSA says you should be 192, and they're like 192. It gets you a couple of years. Who wants to upgrade their ciphers for a couple of years, right? Just go to 256. As far as we know, unless a new Peter Shor's algorithm is invented one day, and one day it will be. But for right now, for the foreseeable future, if you have AES 256, that's strong enough. Gotcha. Now, on the asymmetric side, so that's RSA, Diffie-Hellman, elliptical curve cryptography, FIDO keys that I told you I love, it's all based upon that.
Okay.
Well, once they get enough qubits, which is very close, if not already done, all of that instantly becomes not protective. So if you've got a critical secret that you need to protect for the next 5 or 10 years, don't put it across your network, or you need to use quantum key distribution. that is able to securely transport keys that are not quantum susceptible.
Okay.
And let me say, they've been selling quantum key distribution machines for 2 decades. The first one came out in 2000. And let me keep talking just one more second here. I think every company, every CISO today, there's no doubt in my mind, per this quantum problem, should be doing a data protection inventory. Figure out what data that you need to protect longer than a couple of years, where it is, how it's stored, figure out what ciphers, what types of ciphers are protecting that data, what are the key sizes, because you're going to very soon be asked to upgrade all of the quantum susceptible ciphers to what's known as post-quantum cryptography, the cryptography that the NSA chooses because it's not susceptible to quantum computers. Within the next couple of years, you're going to be told to do this massive upgrade. And you need to get on the start of doing a data protection inventory to see how big of a problem and what you need to upgrade and where it's located. You need to start talking to your vendors going, hey, I heard this crazy loon was talking about this coming quantum crypto break. What are you doing to prepare for it? And you're going to hear most of the people like, huh? They don't know. And it's funny because the NSA said in 2016, you need to start preparing now. And this is what they meant. Also, you need to create policies so that people aren't buying systems that are bringing in weak crypto today.
Yeah.
Right. Like if we know that AES 128 is too weak, I need to make a policy saying we're not allowing anything in unless it's AES 256. You need to stop the hemorrhage of what you're going to have to upgrade in a couple of, well, let me say, it could happen at any time up to a couple of years.
Oh, that's unbelievable. I love it. I mean, it's just so key to the future is the quantum capabilities. This is going to give us a lot of the positive benefits from, if you consider AI and machine learning, some of those things positive, but it's also going to cause some of the swing the other way. So,
yeah, I think quantum computers are going to give us things that are more life-changing than what the internet gave us.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, and I think about you and I, we were around before the internet and we're like, oh my God, we can do so much today. I think quantum computers are going to make it's going to be even more than that, which is hard to conceive.
Well, right now with the current chipsets, we can't get the Moore's law. We can't get to the next level without burning. We're right at that cusp of the chip manufacturers. We're right at that top threshold. So quantum is going to allow that.
Although, you know what, Bill, I've been hearing that since probably 8 megahertz. Like somehow I hear that, I've read that story 20 times, and then all of a sudden Intel or AMD or somebody figures out I have heard that threshold. They're like, oh, we learned out we can use cadmium atoms, and but and yes, and the quantum. The wild thing about quantum is that if it doesn't have to follow Moore's law. It seems to be following Moore's law, but you get exponential, like, so every qubit in a binary computer, like if I have 1 bit, it can be a 1 or a 0, but it can only be a 1 or a 0 when storing or transmitting information. If I have 2 bits, that's 2 1s or 0s, but it can represent 4 pieces of information, right? 1 1 0 0 1 0 0 1, but it can only be 2 bits of information anytime it's transmitting and storing information. A single qubit quantum bit can be 3 things all at once. It can be a 0, a 1, and a 1 and a 0. So as you start to add qubits up, let me blow your mind here. They think that they can fit all information that has ever occurred in the universe, every atom molecule spin, recording of every atom move, and 400 qubits.
Oh, wow.
And I just told you, a friend of mine, I was like, we're going to have a couple thousand, right? Within a couple of years and hundreds of thousands, a couple of years after that. We're going to have this incredible capacity that, they're going to be making better medicines, better car batteries. We're going to be able to drive our self-driving cars without having stoplights and stop signs because they'll figure out how to adjust the speed so we keep moving. Our medicines will have less side effects. Every time I hear a medicine commercial today, it sounds like an SNL parody commercial. And they always end with, and in real life, they all may cause diarrhea or death. I was like, well, why did you have to put the diarrhea one? Because it's the last one that's really capturing my attention. This medicine calms you down, but may cause homicidal thoughts. I'm like, I don't think they had to print it unless it was really seemed to be indicative of the medication. It seems to me, stop. That trial didn't fail. Somebody was trying to kill somebody because of your medicine and they didn't fail. Well, but hopefully the quantum mechanics will allow it to be more 100%. Successful and have less side effects.